I'm Bernadette Carpenter, and I'm here today with Jessica Prater from Herald Whitaker Middle School in McGoffin County, and she has developed this page. It's a virtual learning page, and it's just phenomenal. And I'm going to let her kind of talk to you a little bit about why she created that and what the impact of it has been.
The big idea behind our virtual learning center was our kids in the spring when we closed in March, they were already in Google Classroom. Our teachers, and I'll start off by telling kind of what I did with Ms. Carpenter. I am blessed with an amazing staff of teachers. They had bought in last year. Everybody was already using Google Classroom. Everybody had incorporated a type of blended learning into their daily instruction. We are a one-to-one school. We have worked really, really hard to get that way and use it or lose it. So the teachers we kind of forced them to, if we're going to get these devices and we're going to sacrifice and scrape to kind of make sure we had enough money to buy all these devices, we do want you using them. We want you using them the right way. They got behind it. They jumped on board. And our kids, they're phenomenal. We're always 5 years behind them. So they were already with it. And so that put us in an interesting situation in March. Our teachers didn't miss a beat. They kept teaching. They kept learning. They were doing live instruction. They were doing a mixture of that and assignments. So preparation for this year wasn't as difficult for them as what it had been. The part that we were concerned about, however, which leads us back to the virtual learning center, was we had those kids from August until March. We had them in their classrooms. We had them connected. They knew what they were supposed to be doing. And if they didn't, there was someone there to help them. So our concern here was we're starting a year and never having met these kids. For our 7th grade students, we're a middle school that's only 7-8. That was a big concern for us because all of the 7th grade students that were coming in were coming to us from other buildings. So we didn't know exactly where they were, and obviously they've not been here, so we didn't have a chance to help with that. We couldn't assess how much help they were going to need. We were aware that there was a lot of kids that were not going to have people at home to help them. We know that we've got parents that are working. We know that we have got children that are being raised by aunts and uncles or grandparents, or even those that are staying with those people during this time while their parents are trying to go back to work. So our idea was to centralize everything and make it as easy as possible. We wanted it to, if we could get our kids all in one place to get them started, then they could all go from there. So the idea behind that spurred the virtual learning center to make it kind of a hub for all of our teachers, for all of our students, for all of our parents. And that is really what it was geared toward. Google Classroom does a great job of doing notifications for parents and keeping them up to date about assignments and things like that. But it is pretty locked down to our organization in McGoffin County Schools. So you're required to log in to be able to access a lot of that information. Now, the idea behind the Google site was, I was like, wow, this is some way we can take this exact same information from Google Classroom and make it public, make it for our parents, even people that are minimal with technology, that are not at the level of our kiddos, or they can get to one web page. How can I get them to one web page? How can I make it a point and click where it's really hard to get off track? And we wanted to make it as family friendly as what we could. Like I said, our kids are pros at it. I could have probably triaged and given them instructions. And I've done a lot of that this week of answering questions about getting them over the phone. But being able to navigate through the webpage, this website that I built it's been the best help to us ever. Before we even started the first couple of days, everybody that was going to be in our front office answering the phone, everybody, me and my principal, Mr. Yates, our guidance counselor, all of our teachers, we sat and we went through the page together. Like, okay, if someone calls with this problem, this is how we direct them. If someone calls here, and we wanted to look at it just as uniform as what we could, because we wanted to be able to, like I said, provide this assistance to our families. We assumed that was going to be a struggle, and it turned out we were very on the money. It was that's been the biggest problem we had, was getting people in the classes that they needed to be in. And once that was added, the teachers took over and they done their part, and it was great. Literally, this was just the jumping off point and where to get help if I need it, how to get my kids in the right spot.